We're currently going through possibly the hardest crypto market cycle we have ever seen in the history of cryptocurrency. A close friend of mine reached out recently and asked me about crypto. It's something that happens quite often. People know that I do this thing full time. And the big question, it's the question that I assume a lot of you have in your mind right now, is the crypto bull run still going on, and what the heck should I be doing? And so I want this video to serve as a warning for the people that have just counted out the entire crypto cycle and think this thing's story is over. Crypto is a complicated creature of many different facets, but something crypto is a goal-driven narrative. And the narrative has always been against the big banks, against the Fed, against the government entity, holding too much power on its people. That was always the big vision when it came to crypto. And I feel like in today's day and age, it has never been more important. We know about the tariff news with Trump that's been heavily manipulating the market for the longest time. This has been the big narrative that has been affecting the crypto prices for some time. And it's affected the crypto prices to the point where we're hitting all-time lows on many different cryptocurrencies. But one crypto that we're not hitting all-time lows on right now is Hedera. Hedera has actually been doing really well in comparison. As you know, Hedera for the longest time was at 4 to 5 cents. In the bear market, I covered it. It's at 16 cents. And so in comparison to many of the different cryptocurrencies out there, Hbar has been performing really well. And a big reason why I think Hbar performed better than other cryptocurrencies was because of the way that they ended up allocating their budget. I believe there is a narrative shift happening in crypto right now, and it has to do with the maturing in the markets. If you didn't know, there are millions upon millions of cryptocurrencies out there. There's way too many cryptos out there. And by the time I finish this video, I guarantee at least another 100 other cryptos are going to be launched on Pump Fund. There are way too many cryptocurrencies. And so in what universe will every single crypto run? In what universe will a quote unquote altcoin season work when a vast majority of cryptocurrencies are just not going to see the same level of attention as they saw when there were only maybe, a couple thousand cryptocurrencies versus tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of cryptocurrencies in today's day and age? Well, the thing that we have been seeing is smart budget allocation. Hedera was one of those projects that gave grant money to these Fortune 500 companies in the name of a council. This council governed Hedera, and it still governs Hedera today, and it allows it to stand out against its competitors. And if you are a person that believes in the network effect, that believes in the law of attraction, that believes in the law of leadership, and then you're going to believe that Hedera is going to go up. The law of leadership is when someone's a leader, they tend to continue to be the leader for the rest of time. And the same is to be said with Hbar. They've been the leader in the ISO 20022 narrative adjacent to XRP, and they've been able to capitalize as a result of those Fortune 500 companies being on their council of smart budget. They didn't have to spend a ludicrous amount of capital in order to gain in the crypto space. I have been tracking, I'm a guy that spends I don't think you understand, every single day of my life for the past 5 years has had crypto in it in some way or another. I don't take days off. That's not a thing for me. And so I'm very tapped into where the market is right now and what in the world is going on. And I look at Solana meme coins. I look at the Base chain narrative. I look at Base itself that is, going to go ahead and launch a token. We have Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Polygon, every other crypto you can imagine. I also covered a lot of the Hedera narrative. And I've worked with many of the biggest blockchains in the world, raised millions of dollars worth of capital for these blockchains as well. The one thing I realize is that Hbar does things differently from a lot of the companies out there. Many of the top 10, 20 cryptocurrencies you see spend way too much money. They spend way too much money carelessly because their blockchains are worth billions of dollars, and they just don't need to spend smartly. They have billions of dollars to spend, so why not give $20 million for a campaign that doesn't mean anything? Now, I would agree with you if the price kept going up, because you'd be able to rationalize that decision. You'd be able to have more money to allocate into projects. But the problem is eventually the music's going to stop. And you need to have enough money laying around for the event that even if things go bad, you'll be able to continue your operations. And so with Hbar, we saw, even though the Hbar meme run happened, we had a meme run, we had utility plays run pretty massively. None of these were really backed directly by the foundation in an irresponsible way. These guys gave some limelight attention to it, but they didn't pour tens of millions of dollars into that ecosystem. They are hedging against the bear market. And that's why Hbar has managed at a time where many crypto projects are not doing well at all, to have a higher market cap today than they had during the peak of last bull cycle. This is something very, 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 very rare. You really are not going to see that on pretty much any other token. I don't know, I'm going to click on a token right now. Is Arbitrum. Look at this. This is not a good chart even by market cap standpoints. It's a terrible chart. It's not because Arbitrum's a bad cryptocurrency. I actually like Arbitrum and I would 100% play Arbitrum games. It's just because of the fact that Hedera was able to go ahead and tap into a narrative, dominate that narrative. And now, despite the fact that years have passed, they didn't overspend to the point where they killed their project by the time a bear market stuck around. They were consistent in the fact that they were leaders. They were getting these Fortune 500 companies in, and they weren't going to spend too much to the point where it killed their project. And if you've seen the channel for the longest time, have been a big supporter of this narrative. In fact, another cryptocurrency that's doing it right, and is in a narrative that I used to talk about a lot, but don't talk about a lot these days, gaming, has got to be YGG. YGG was a cryptocurrency that back in the day led the gaming narrative. They were able to span a guild that had, millions upon millions of people playing crypto games. And I have been so frustrated with the gaming space for so long because of irresponsible spending. They were spending way too much on advertising and they weren't doing things right. They weren't generating any meaningful revenue to actually back the hype there. Well, YGG announced their YGG Play Launchpad, where they're going to be, launching these tokens from games within their ecosystems. But more importantly, something I think that was way more important was the fact that YGG did $2 million worth of real revenue. And I think the number actually went even higher. It was over $4.5 million worth of lifetime revenue on just one of their games. And I've been so angry for the longest of time because I'm a very passionate person when it comes to gaming. And if you've seen my channel, you understand what I mean. Gaming has been a very core belief of mine and something I think is still going to do really well. Well, YGG, for whatever reason, has actually been outperforming a lot of the market because of the fact that they actually make revenue and they aren't spending on everything that they see. And so despite the fact that there's a gaming winter, despite the fact that everything hasn't been the best, I do 100% believe that allocating into plays that actually make meaningful revenue and are pushing the way forward for the space in the same sense that Hbar is with their law of leadership. YGG was the first gaming guild. They were the biggest gaming guild and they still are the biggest gaming guild. They have some of the biggest games out there that are getting some of the biggest revenue numbers in the crypto gaming space. These are the same rules. I would put Hbar, YGG in the same law of leadership basket. They're leading a narrative and that is making them a success. If you've been someone that has been worried about the fact that the price hasn't been doing too well in these cryptocurrencies, I have one thing to tell you, and that's that liquidity is just not here. Liquidity is just not here in the markets right now. We have too much going on that is making prices go up and down. One day Trump is not doing tariffs. One day he's doing tariffs. One day he's not doing it. One day he's doing it. I don't know if Baroness is quant, but all I do know is that uncertainty is not good for the markets. And so once we get that certainty established, once we get a little bit of stability, I believe that cryptocurrencies that actually have meaningful revenue numbers, cryptocurrencies that aren't overspending and are leading their narratives, these are going to be the big winners of 2025 and 2026 and beyond, especially considering the fact that institutions need actual numbers to look at. These guys need real numbers to look at. It's no longer a race to just create a token with whatever white paper and that would go to $3 billion. No, in this day and age, you actually need to build something meaningful that actually produces numbers. And so I'm putting my money into this kind of stuff, and that is the big warning for you all. I think these are the cryptocurrencies that are going to do well in this cycle and the next cycle. Of course, considering the fact that Bitcoin continues to run, because if Bitcoin doesn't run, then everything I said was kind of for nothing. But for me, the risk rewards make sense. So that's why I continue to go ahead and talk about these cryptocurrencies. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, stay classy. Thank you for watching. And that is all.